When you are building a project with Filament, it happens so many times that you have to use the same form or table so many times at various places in your project. Like you are using a form in a resource, on a table header, in action, in a widget, or in a livewire component. Just imagine a situation that you are building a software in Filament and you are using a same form, let's say 20 times, and also you are using the same table for 20 times at various places in your application. What will you do? Would you write the same code for 20 times for 20 forms and 20 times for 20 tables? Actually, the answer is definitely not. I have opened a Filament project in the browser. Right on your screen, you can see that I have a form here at the top of the table, and it is a form that is being used in the widget, and same form is here. Now let me click on new user. The exact same form is being used here in the Filament resource, in the user resource. Also, let me click on select here. It is a Filament page and it is a table header. A button is on the table header. Let me click on this button. Again, it is the same form to add user, and the same code is written here as well. So in this project, I have written the same code for the form for 3 times. In order to make some changes in the form, let's say I am adding some field in the form, I have to make changes in the same code for 3 times at various places where the code is written. So let's click on this users again. Similarly with the table, as of now I have only one table, but suppose I am using same kind of table for multiple times. In this video, I am going to show you how you can extract the code for a form and a table in a separate class, and you can reuse it for multiple times in your project. So let's start. Let's open the code editor. You can see it is a user resource. In this form method, you can see we are using this form. Now let me check this user form widget. It is a user form widget. Here as well, it is the same form with all the same fields. Also, let me check this page, select here page. You can see here it is a create action, and inside the create action, we have this form and all the fields are same. In this Filament project, you can see I am using a very simple form. We have only few fields like name, mobile number, department, email, password. Imagine a situation when you are using a very complex form and a huge form at various multiple places in your project. So it is not a professional way to write the same code again and again. So let's extract this code to a separate class and we can use that code at multiple places. Okay, let me click on this user resource. So first of all, let's create a folder. I'm going to create a folder in this filament folder, which is under the F folder. Let's create a folder in this filament folder. Let's name it shared. You can name it anything. Let's name it shared. And a shared folder is created inside the filament folder. Let's create a class for this user form. Let's create a PHP file. Let's name it user form. We will write a separate class for table. For now, I'm writing a class for the shared user form only. Namespace. And namespace will be app filament shared. Class and class name will be user form. Let me rearrange the tabs. Let's drag it here. Let's check the user resource and copy this form method. Public static function form. Let's copy the whole function. Copy and paste it here and import the classes. I have imported this form, filament forms form. Let's import text input and select as well. And save the file. And now we can use this form. Let's use in this user resource. Delete everything within this method. Let's delete this. Simply return, and our class name is user form. Which is in app filament shared, and we have to use this form method. And inside the form we have to pass this form. Let's copy this and pass it here and save it. That's all. And please don't get confused with this user form and this user form, because this user form is inside widgets and this user form is inside the shared folder, and it is a shared form that we have just created. It was already created, so you can name it anything, but in our case this name is same but the folders are different, so please consider this. Now save the page and refresh it. As of now I have added that form in the resource only, so let's check this button. Just ignore this as of now because we have not changed this widget as of now. Let's click on this button. You can see we have a form. That's great. Now let's add the same form in this widget. In this user form widget, let's find the form first. Here we have the form. Here we are using state path method. Okay, then if we are deleting everything from here, then how we will use state path method that is being used in this class? Let me show you one thing. For that we have to do is delete everything from this schema. Inside this schema, delete everything. Also delete this array because we are already going to get this data in the form of array. So delete this array. In this schema, we have to write our class, user form. Again, not from this widget, from this app filament shared, and form method, and pass this form right here. And we have to use a method get components. Here is the method get components, and save the file. Refresh the page. Now you can see we have a form right here. Form is here. It is the same form. Let me click here. Same fields, same form, and using the same code. You might have noticed that the structure has changed for this form, which is being used in this widget. The reason is earlier I was using it in a section and now I have removed the section. That's why this kind of thing is here. So let's try to add a section as well. Let's copy this, and inside schema we have to write section. This filament forms components, make, and again schema. And inside the schema you will paste the code that we have just copied. Also to the section, let me use columns method, and let's say 2 columns. Save it and refresh the page. Section given. Okay, let me check it. Okay, we have to use array in this schema. Let me cut this, paste it here. We have to remove the array from the schema where we are using this thing, because now we have shifted it from this schema to the section schema. So that's why we have to add this array to the schema. Save and refresh. Now you can see form is visible and it is the same form. Let me show you one thing. If you are a beginner and just learning this filament thing, because some things on the screen are confusing sometimes. Okay, let me show you one thing. Let's click on this user resource, and here you have noticed that whenever I am using this user form class, there is it is the only the class name, and before this class name no any namespace is there. But here in this user form widget you can see it is the namespace app filament shared, and then our class name is here. What is the reason for that? Why this namespace is not here and why this namespace is here? So there is a simple reason for that. Namespace is here as well, but namespace is at the top. It is the namespace app filament shared user form. Now let me click on this widget. Because this name of the widget and name of this class is same, so that's why our code editor is smart enough to use, so that we can identify that this user form class is from app filament shared namespace. So that's why it is written here. In your case, if the widget name is different, then it will be written at top as well. So don't get confused with this. Just focus on this class only. Now click on this select year. In this page, we have a table, and on the table header, we have this create button. Let's click on this, and here is the form. Now let's use the shared form here as well. Let's close this and open the code editor and open the select year page. You can see we have this form here, and now the form in this page is not a separate method like in earlier case. You can see public function form. Here we have a table. In header actions of this table, we are using create action, and this form is the method of this create action class. So we are using this form, and here is the form. So nothing to worry in this case as well. The process is same. Just remove everything within this form method. From return to here, let's delete everything and simply return our user form class, which is from app filament shared. And let's implement this form method and pass this form object. It's that simple. Let me refresh this page. Click on new user. Now you can see the form is here. And now we are not repeating the same code again and again. Also, if you want to use section here, you can do is, let me comment this. You can say return form schema. Inside schema, you can use section. This section filament forms components, make, and again schema. And in this schema, we don't need to write array because we are going to get the components in the form of array. So here you can say user form shared form, Let's pass form here and implement a method get components. That's all. Save it, refresh the page. Let me click here. This border is visible, means the section is applied. Okay, let me add columns method as well. In these sections, let's add columns, 2 columns. Refresh the page. Click here. You can see now our input fields are divided into 2 columns. So it is a way to use the same form code at multiple places. It is your choice. If in some places you want to modify it, means you want to use it in the section, then you can write this way. If you want to use it in a simple way, just use it here. And suppose you are going to use this form in the sections everywhere, then you can add section here in the main code. Just write this code inside the section and section will be automatically applied everywhere. Okay, let's add one more field, text input. Just for the example, let's use created at, because date is being saved in created at. We can use date picker, filament form date picker. Okay, just save it. Refresh the page and click on new user. Now you can see we have this input field created at, and we can pick the date from here. Similarly, let me check the other forms. Click on this users page. Now you can see created at is automatically added here as well. Now click on this new user. Created at is added here as well. Also, let me share with you one more case. Let's remove this created at from here, from this shared user form. Let's just refresh it to make sure that it is removed. It is removed from here. Click here as well. It is removed from here as well. Now we are having these 5 fields only here as well. Now consider you want to use created at only at one single form. Means, let's say you want to use created at in this select year here. On the select year page, we have this create user form that is being triggered with this button, which is a header action. You can see we don't have created at here. But now let's say we don't want to add this created at on all the places, but we want to add created at only in this header action of this select year page. How you can do that? Even it is very simple. So I'm trying to discuss all the use cases. Now the page is select year. Let's open the page. First of all, let's remove this commented code to avoid the confusion. So let's remove everything from here. Let's type return and form and implement this schema method. You are well aware that in order to write components here in schema, we have to write this array and then we have to type the components. Because we are getting the data in the form of array. When we will get the data from shared components, we'll get the array. And we want one extra field. We can use PHP's function array merge, because we are going to merge two things. Array merge. In the array merge, let's use this user form. Have filament shared form and you use the form object here and write get components. Let me close this. And this is the first argument of this array merge function, comma, open close square brackets, and within these square brackets we can write date picker, this filament forms components, make, and the name of the column created at. Save it, refresh the page. Let me click on new user. Now you can see we have all the form fields, plus we have additional field created at. Let's check other forms. Click on users. Here we don't have created at. Also click on new user. And here also we don't have this created at field. Not only a single field, you can add it multiple fields, multiple components. Let's comma and let's try to add updated at field as well. Let me duplicate this. Updated at. Let's click on select here. Click on new user. Now you can see we have created at and updated at as well, but only in this page, at here only. So in this way you can reuse the code. So let's delete this and simply return the form. Simply return the form. Save it. Let me click users. Let's try to add the data to see if it is actually working. Let's add Mike Brown, mobile number, department, marketing, email is mike@test.com, password 1234. Click on submit. You can see data is added successfully, means our form is properly working. Also let's try to add user from here. Let's simply add John. Select add department, sales, John 123, add test.com, 1234. Here you can see John is added. This is the email ID, this is the mobile number. So our form is working perfectly. In this way you can extract a code in a separate class and reuse it multiple times. Let's try to reuse the tables. Now let's make the table as reusable. Here we have the table. Also let me check this select here. Here we have the table as well. Data in both the tables is being used from this users table. First of all, let's make these both tables same. Let's open the code editor. We don't need this user form class as of now. Close this page. Also close this user form widget. We don't need this as of now. Let's simply copy the table from this user resource. Let's copy this method. And just comment out this table. and let's paste the table. Let's import these. I'm just importing the classes. Let's refresh the page and check. Must have this query. Okay. Because this table is being used in a page, so we have to mention this query and the model name so that filament will know that we have to fetch the data from users table. Now you can see on select year page, it is our table. We have 106 results. Let's click on users, and on users page, or you can say on user resource, we have the same table. Now we are using the same table in two pages, and we have written the code for two times. Here in user resource, this is the table method, and here in this select year page. Let's extract this. Simply copy this whole table method, copy it, and in the shared folder that we have created earlier, inside this filament folder, we have to create a class. Let's call it user table. Let's open the PHP tag, namespace, filament shared, class, user table, and here just paste the table and import all the classes. We don't need this query because if we are using this code in this user resource, then we don't need the query. First of all, let's remove this query. Now let's click on user resource, delete everything in this table method. You can see this method is empty now. Just return user table and pass the table. Save the file, refresh the page. You can see a table is here. When we are calling this table method directly from this user table class, it means we are also using this default sort method. Also, we are using these columns. Also, we are using these filters and these actions and this bulk action. Let me open this page again. You can see the actions are here already. So it means whenever we are using directly this method from here, this static method from user table, we are using everything that is mentioned in this method. Now let's try to add this table on this page. Again, let's delete everything from here. Now we have removed everything from this table method. You can see this method is empty. Let's type return. user table class from app filament shared, and the table static method, and pass this table and semicolon. But as you remember, we have to use query method as well. Okay, no issues. Let's use query method after this. Query the user model, this app model's user model query. Simple. Save this page. Let's refresh it. Let's open this select year page. Here you can see now we have the table. Let's try to delete something to see if the actions and everything is working perfectly. Let's try to delete this John. Select and delete. The John is deleted. Let me click on users to check. Here as well, John is deleted because the same table is being used in both of these pages, so the data is same. Let me share another use case with you. Similarly, like forms, suppose you want to use some extra column in one of the tables, but you don't want to use that extra column everywhere. Suppose we want to use some extra column here in select year, but not in users. How we can do that? Let's click on this select year page. Here we want to use the extra column. Okay, so first of all, let's comment this code and let's write return table, and we have to use query method, and query we have to use user model and query, and here we have columns method, and in the columns here on this page we want to show an extra column. So again we are going to get the data in the form of array. Let's write array merge. Array merge is a PHP function. It will merge all the arrays that we will pass as parameter in this array merge function. Now user table, pass that table, and we have to implement get columns, this get columns method, comma, and square brackets. Inside the square brackets, let's write text column, make, and the column we want to display. You can say this, let's use this selected year. Also, let's use created at. Save the page. Perfect. You can see now we have these columns because this column is already empty in the database. So that's why data is not being shown here. Instead of this, we can use updated at, and let's arrange them. Refresh the page. Now we have created at and updated at columns in the table that is on select year page. Also, let's click on this users page. Here we don't have those columns. Let's visit that page again. And in this way, you can extract the method in a separate class and reuse it multiple times in your project. I hope you have learned a lot from this video. Subscribe my channel for more interesting tutorials. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.